Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our webinar, our monthly webinar on Clean Out Your Inbox with Customer Self-Service. This is part of a webinar series, so definitely go and check out the rest of the webinars in this series on our YouTube account. Some housekeeping before we get started. All of today's webinar is being recorded, and we will send that out shortly after the presentation. Everybody will be muted during the presentation, but you do have access to the Q&A and chat box during the webinar. So if you think of any questions, feel free to type those out, and we'll address any of those at the end of the session. And with that, I will pass this over to our presenter, Matt Shanahan.
Thank you, Lindsay. Hello, my name is Matt Shanahan. As the Chief Strategy Officer, I try and find ways to help companies maximize their working capital as efficiently as possible. Lately, most of my investigation has been around reducing DSO, and that's why we've had this series on reducing DSO. We called it the Secrets to Reducing DSO. It's a 4-part series. Today's webinar is the third in that 4-part series. As Lindsay indicated, we have the previous 2 on our YouTube channel and encourage you to look at those. The first webinar introduced the concept of accounts receivable sequencing and how it impacts DSO. The second focused on the top metrics for the collections process to make it more predictive. Today, we'll dig into how accounts receivable sequencing can be used with customer self-service. And then part 4, we'll look at how you can build and manage your own sequences to drive automation. This series was looking at reducing DSO because of its cornerstone role in terms of understanding efficiency and liquidity of your financial operations. By reducing DSO, you basically increase your bank balance, which means you have more working capital to invest in the business. That working capital can also increase the cash from your operations by reducing interest expense or increasing your interest income. What we also witness is that a reduction in DSO is accompanied by an increase in your staff efficiency because less time is spent chasing down past due payments. Finally, since all of those collections drop directly to the bottom line, liquidity and profits increase, which increases shareholder value. So there's a lot of benefit for being able to tackle this challenge inside the organization. Let me share a little bit about Lockstep and Anytime Collect before we go into today's topic. So Lockstep is on a mission to help accounting teams work together. We believe that providing better ways for accounting teams to connect between companies has the power to free people from mundane activities and focus on really maximizing the impact. So a more fulfilling role, if you will. Lockstep serves over 170 companies globally today and more than 10,000 daily active users. Our integration platform, so part of our secret is we deeply integrate with your ERP. Our integration platform has the most number of connections in the industry today, and we're adding new connectors every month. If you don't see yours on here, let us know, and that's something we can quickly add. We also have deep expertise in optimizing receivables for companies. We process millions of invoices monthly, and there's more than 3 million invoice companies in our network. And over time, we've helped suppliers collect billions in cash. Anytime Collect is the Lockstep solution for accounts receivable. And it's designed to reduce DSO 3 specific ways. First, Anytime Collect automates outbound communications. This is to your customers regarding the status of their accounts and invoices to keep them informed and also to nudge along their payments. Second, Anytime Collect provides customers with self-service access to make the information they need, to give them the information they need to make their payments. And then third, Anytime Collect empowers your accounts receivable staff with prioritized activities and a consolidated view of the customer. This lets them engage, in areas where payments might be slowed down or locked up so that they can unlock it and speed those payments up. So those are the 3 things that Anytime Collect is able to do. Today, we're going to really focus in on customer self-service and the impact that can have to clean out your inbox. And part of the question is, why would you do that? the way we tend to think of an inbox is a to-do list that a customer makes for you. In other words, they're sending requests for information, they're sending requests for statements. That holds you back from focusing on higher priority activities that you want to be able to handle. That's right. So the inbox makes your accounts receivable staff reactive. As emails come in, a member of the accounts receivable staff has to triage that email. They have to figure out who does it go to the right person, you know, and it may be that multiple people are going into triage. Everybody's just grabbing their own. But then there are still some things that need to be figured out and handed off. The other thing is then once those come in, you have to determine how urgent is this? Do I need to do it right now? Or can I do it in the future? So those are kind of key things that, that we look at when we do that. And before we kind of go in any deeper, we wanted to take a quick poll and find out, you know, how much email do you receive every day from customers? Give that a second more. All right, thank you very much. So as we mentioned, the inbox really can make your staff very reactive because a lot of payments are held up waiting for a response. For example, a customer sends a wrong contact email asking it to be for an invoice to be sent to somebody else. A customer may request a W-9 before they process the payment in their ERP. And it's frequent to have customers request another copy of an invoice as they lost the last one. Before finalizing payments, oftentimes customers may ask for a statement at the end of the month so they can reconcile their accounts payable. So these are things that hold up payment and sort of increase your DSO. So being able to sort of get in front of this and allow customers to do self-service actually then reduces the DSO. And when it comes to, you know, when we take customers live on Anytime Collect, we do a lot of benchmarking. And in that benchmarking, we try and understand what are the activities that they're currently doing and what are the activities they would like to be doing. And what we notice is that through a combination of phone calls and emails that staff will do throughout the day, they can complete somewhere between 75 to 100 activities per day. So that's a benchmark that we've seen consistently. So the other way to think about an inbound email that needs to be responded to is that the number of proactive activities that can be done actually goes down, because in another way to think about it is every inbox email has an opportunity cost of reducing your proactive work. The inbox also makes staff inefficient. Each email takes time to process. For example, an invoice request has at least 9 steps. Step 1, you got to open the email. First of all, you had to go get it. So that's actually step 1. Then you have to open the email, read the email, switch over to the accounting system, go to the invoice lookup in the accounting system, look up the invoice. Then you have to download the invoice, reply to the email, attach the invoice, send it. And so you can see just, you know, it's sort of painful to walk through those steps, but that's, you know, every time somebody says, oh, can you resend that invoice? These are the tasks or the activities that people have to go through. And this doesn't even include the administrative activity around archiving this for records keeping purposes and other things. The inbox is also error prone. Not only do inbound emails take time, but they're manual. Manual tasks are inherently error prone. In the case of processing a promise to pay email, the information can be transcribed into a spreadsheet where all of the tracking will be done on the different promises. But in that transcription, it's easy to make a mistake on the exact date, the balance, maybe the invoice number. And so later on follow-up, there's kind of, you're calling either at the wrong time, you're referencing the wrong invoice, and the customer says, I don't know what that means. So there's a lot of problems that can actually occur downstream as a result of the errors from that manual processing. And so these are areas where, again, email's making your efficiency go down. As we've talked in discussions with controllers and credit managers, their desire is to have staff focused on proactive, customer service-oriented activities that really unlock cash. Onboarding is a great example where, getting a customer to get things filled out on time, schedule their payments on time that first time will mean a higher likelihood that on repeat billing, everything will run smoothly. So getting those first, customers on, getting a customer onboarded the right way actually has a very positive impact on your DSO. Another great example is resolving disputes faster. The typical dispute can take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to resolve. If you can cut that in half, again, a big impact on the DSO. Other things are items like monitoring changes in customers' credit scores. That might be a time that you want to outreach and just see how they're doing and make sure payments are moving along well. Dealing with a broken promise. The faster you can be on top of that, again, they will respond to you faster. If they're having a financial situation, being the first one to respond to a broken promise is going to be better off. Also, investigating changes in payment behavior. When a customer changes their timing, it can usually mean something's happening in their business. And it's a good time for you to check in with them, see how it's going, and then gain a promise to pay ahead of time versus waiting for a longer delay. What these managers convey also is that they don't want their staff doing the processing of mundane emails from the AR inbox. So again, these are the things that they will want taken out so that they can focus on the proactive side of things, not the reactive side. And that's what AR sequencing is really designed around in combination with customer self-service. It cleans out the inbox and reduces the DSO. So let's just go for a kind of review. What is AR sequencing? It's a technology that gives your team really what I call automation superpowers. So you have the ability to go in and really do a lot of great automation of the collections process. Specifically, AR sequencing is a set of intelligent rules that automate credit, collection, and payment policies that you have by sending outbound communications to customers and assigning staff activities. So it does that automatically. Examples can be, in terms of automating credit policy, is when to place a credit hold for a customer and do that automatically. If you have a collections policy, when do you send the past due reminder versus when should you do a phone call? On the payment policy, whom should you offer early payment discount and when do you want to do that? Those are all different rules that can be automated to drive your collections efficiency. But how does sending outbound communications clean out your inbox? That's really where customer self-service comes into play. And let's look at that. So how does this work? With Anytime Collect, what we do is we actually synchronize with your ERP and collect data, for instance, on your invoices, customers, contacts, all of that information. And that goes into what we call AR data management. From there, AR sequencing, which is a rules engine that allows us to look at all of the different things that are going on, can trigger those different activities, such as an automated communication to your customer. So an invoice is coming due, it's nearing its due date, it still has an open balance, and email is sent out automatically to the customer as a reminder. But the key is, in that email, there's actually what's called a magic link. And the magic link brings them to a customer self-service capability. So they can go online and see all of their invoices. They can actually, if they have a concern with one, they can log a dispute, they can do an inquiry, all of that online. But most importantly too, is then they can make a payment online. And when that payment happens online, another bit of efficiency comes in. So first of all, your team didn't have to respond to the customer. They're able to come in and completely self-serve, gain access to the invoice, check their balance, all of that, including payment. And then as the payment comes through, it gets applied automatically back to the ERP. So that cash application also happens, saving staff time. Finally, if in terms of proactive activities, the sequencing engine can identify, hey, there's been a change in credit score for one of the customers. You need to do some proactive outreach and double check that we're good. And so it can kind of tee that up. And that's really where then your collectors focus on being proactive and driving collections efficiency. In order to really clean out the inbox, you've got to provide a comprehensive experience. And that's one of the things that we've done with Anytime Collect. As you saw earlier, the inbox has lots of different types of emails. To clean those out, you need things like giving customers full access to open as well as closed invoices, being able to do the online payment. Also look at their payment history. They may want to go back and double check something. Dispute an invoice, so they may have an issue and it's easier for them to go online, dispute it, and then it's being automatically tracked inside Anytime Collect for you to resolve. Being able to get download of PDFs for their own records, as well as supporting documents that they may need in order to process that invoice. Managing the contacts so that you stay in touch with them and know who to be contacting when issues come up. And then the ability to export data. They need to use it in a lot of their own kind of end of month reporting. So give them an easy way to do that. And then finally, things like search. Just make it so that they can get at the information they need to very, very quickly. All of these capabilities make it so that it's way faster and much more convenient for your customers to process the invoices online versus email. The benefit is both of you end up saving time. So that's really where customer self-service can have a big impact on reducing DSO. Now, the notion of build it and they will come is one of the things to be, to think about. Adoption of the self-service capability is critical to success. And so you really need a plan for adoption and how you're going to execute on it. And if you're able to do that, you'll see the impacts to your metrics. So one thing to think about is, hey, do you want to target the biggest segment of your customers first and really try and drive up adoption? For a lot of companies, that's in their small and medium business segments, where there's the most customers and they often consume the most time. So, targeting them for adoption. Then monitoring usage, make sure that it's becoming the preferred channel, drive up the frequency of the usage. And as it becomes stickier, then they really, get value out of what it is that's being delivered. And all of that leads to improved KPIs, right? So this is then, as a result of that adoption and usage, you're seeing a reduced DSO, reduced past due, and you actually improve customer satisfaction because they get to, solve a problem they have on their own time and much faster than doing it through email. So keys to doing that. One is you want to promote the availability of customer self-service. During onboarding, do you have emails that go out specifically giving an overview of the capabilities and the access to it? Sequences should trigger reminders so you can track which customers are not using the online portal, and actually send reminders out to them saying, hey, go use this independent of the actual invoicing. And then each customer segment will have different value drivers. So you want to tailor the message to what will impact them the most. And that's where you can get marketing involved. Most accounting departments are not marketers. That's why they have different departments. But marketing's a great ally in this and helping sort of tailor your message and put that out there. It's a great way to work together as a team because everyone's focused on that customer satisfaction. Also incentivize customers to use the online capabilities. Save time for your customers, right? So Autopay is a great example of where rather than having to write a checkout or go online and fill out a payment or any of that, they can simply set up an Autopay where every month or as soon as the invoice becomes due, it pays on the due date of the invoice. Now this has a benefit to them. It saves them time, but also lets them maximize the use of the payment term. So they're paying on the final day of their terms. And then reinforce use of customer self-service. Answer any request with a link to the online experience. Send a link as a response to a statement for, or an invoice request, right? So you can send a link back so that they get it online. If they ask for a W-9, send a link to where the W-9 is online. Request promise to pay. So when you're requesting that, don't take it over the phone, send an email and ask them to register it online. And then likewise, when a resolution of a dispute is done, send a link to that resolution. Those are the things that start to change the behavior and people realize, oh yeah, this is a lot easier to do, and I'll go and get that done online. So how can you benefit from a clean inbox? Well, some of the questions you may want to ask yourself is, what is your current DSO? If it's over 40 days, you could benefit from cleaning out the inbox. If your past due is greater than 10%, chances are if you're using Outlook and Gmail to coordinate with customers, then you will definitely benefit from this approach. And then do you already have customer self-service? If that's not something you have, you will definitely benefit from that improved experience. So one of the things we'd like to offer is certainly contact us if you'd like an opportunity assessment. What we do oftentimes is sit down with your numbers, look at your operations, and we can project out an ROI for you, right? Looking at the different ways you can improve. If you'd like to do that, certainly visit our website. We have a chat feature there, and you can register there or send an email to info@anytimecollect.com. And with that, we'll open it up for questions and answers.
It looks like we have our first question. Does this have to integrate with our corporate website?
It's a great question. So the customer self-service for accounting usually is not integrated with the corporate, marketing and sales site. Usually, e-commerce sites will have a checkout and a capability there. But on your credit sales, those tend to be a separate portal integrated the way we have here.
We've got another question. How do you track which customers are using the self-service functionality?
So in Anytime Collect, each customer is actually tracked in terms of their online access. And so that's a reporting function that's available to you. And that really helps you understand things like adoption, but it also lets you then do targeting so that you can track, okay, of the people who haven't used it, what are the offers that you send out and how do you start to entice them to use it?
So we have a question, and it looks like they are a customer of Anytime Collect, and they're doing their first sync on Friday. Is an opportunity assessment part of the startup or something that they can utilize down the road?
Oh, we'd love to engage right away. That's something that we find is beneficial for prospects as well as customers. One of the things that we want to help customers do is provide visibility to their own management teams and stakeholders inside their organizations. And so building a benchmark and reporting on that is something we definitely want to do with you.
All right, it looks like we don't have any more questions coming in. So we want to thank all of you for joining us today. A reminder that we will send a recording of this webinar, and to go and check out the first couple parts in this series on our YouTube channel, and make sure to sign up for the last part in this series that will be coming out next month. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.